So you clean it very nice.
We're going. We're live.
All right, baby. Let's do it.
All right. I want to just make sure that this is working for everyone here. Woo-hoo. No. Do you see it online real quick?
Make it work.
All right. So we're playing with some technology here. We're just trying to get everything going. We're going to be going live right now on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope. So cool.
Let's do it.
We are here with David Martinez. Thank you for watching REI Mastermind with Brandon Simmons and David Goodmanson. Just want to welcome everyone who's watching this live and also those going to be watching this afterwards too. If you're watching this live and you're on YouTube or Facebook, Periscope, you should be able to ask questions or send some comments to us as we're doing the broadcast, and we'll try to get to all those comments as we go through here. But I want to introduce David. I think almost David Gomez. His nickname is Gomez for some reason. David Martinez. So he's 24 years old. He's been doing wholesaling for a little over a year
and a half.
About a year and a half. And I've known him for a couple of years now, and he's also interested in commercial real estate. He's a licensed realtor as well. So we get to pick David's brain today and talk about how he's finding deals in the Phoenix market, one of the most competitive markets around, and also just pepper him with questions. We got a lot of questions for him because one of the questions we want to talk about today too is how, a lot of us are trying to hire and scale in our business. And a lot of people we're hiring are what we call millennials, people born after 1984. So
84 or 94?
84, I think, right? Or is it 90?
84.
84, yeah.
What year were you born? 95. All right.
Yeah, so
I think I have tennis shoes older than that.
So
All
in
right.
case you want to talk to him about that. So tell us a little bit about your background, what got you interested in real estate and everything like that.
Yeah, so started off once I graduated high school, first job I got was working at a Party City store.
What's a Party City store?
It's like a party store. They sell party supplies,
Balloons,
Okay,
paper
all
plates,
that, yeah.
streamers, and
Not
stuff.
not weird stuff. Okay.
No, not like what store you're talking about. Yeah, not like that. So,
Balloons, streamers, got it.
yeah, and then I went up to Wells Fargo, and I thought I was going to stay at Wells Fargo, become a financial advisor or something, but the banking world I just ended up not liking that either. So I left. While I was working at Wells Fargo, I was learning about stocks, how to trade stocks.
What job did you have at Wells Fargo?
I was a teller,
Okay.
a bank teller. So
you weren't like some financial analyst. You were just
just a bank teller, and was going to go up to a banker, but by the time they gave me the position, I just lost all the passion, if you will, in that job. So I just ended up leaving. And I had a good chunk of savings saved up, and I used that to live off of in the meantime while I was trading stocks. And I did well to begin with, as everyone usually does. I did well to begin with, yeah. And then it started to plateau, and then it started to go down. And so at that point, I realized, well, I knew I was going to get into real estate anyway. So I ended up getting into real estate right after that. I figured.
And how old were you around this transition?
I was 21 or 22, I think.
Okay.
Probably around 22 years old. And so I got a job at State Farm. I was there for, I think, about 6 months. I believe it was while I was getting licensed. And then once I left State Farm and started going into real estate full time, I was just I tried to go the agent route once I got licensed, just open houses. I was doing like 3 or 4 a week, trying to just get as many clients in as I could. And then the broker ended up telling me about, he had me reach out to a couple guys, but when I first had the meeting with him, he was telling me that I reminded him of someone named Dave. So when I'm saying Dave.
You're talking about this one.
Yes, I'm talking about this one.
David reminded of Dave.
Yes, of him. And so I didn't really pay any attention to it because, after that meeting and I got on with him, I was just doing the open houses. And then he gave me a list of phone numbers and just said, call some of these guys and ask them to give you some tips or some advice on what you could do. Yeah. So I called the first guy and he gave me some good tips on, what to do for client, how to get clients, doing open houses. Cause he was doing $500,000 listings, and nothing really below that. And so after I talked to that guy, then I spoke to him, and then he started asking me more on the investing side, because that's, ultimately what I wanted to do was get on the investing side.
Yeah.
And then you invited me to lunch.
It's all about lunch, man.
Yep.
It's over tacos,
I
I'm
met
sure.
him, and I met everyone that I know now through that one lunch. So.
Tacos, man.
Tacos.
does
Heck,
it every time.
You know it.
Yeah.
I had tacos
Yeah.
today.
Make tacos great again. That's what I say.
You know it.
So you got introduced to Dave. You got to find out a little bit about wholesaling. Tell us about like your first experience, your first deal.
And this is what, 2018?
Yes.
Okay.
2018.
Okay.
And it
So-
was, I'm trying to,
And so you can relate to a lot of people that are just starting too, because a lot of people maybe they're watching podcasts and YouTubes and different videos and trying to figure this whole wholesaling thing out. So how did you go from that learning to start taking action?
Well, funny thing is, I actually really didn't. When I got into the wholesaling side of it, I didn't know anything. I didn't actually really read any books or anything. I ended up. I met with Carlos. I went to his office.
Reyes,
And,
yeah.
yep.
And
I
that was a
went to his
connection I
office.
made for you, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. Yep. And he was the one that told me, get a list of 100 driving for dollars. When you get that list, send it to me. I'll skip trace it for you, and you can start calling them. And so at the time, like I had like no money. Like I was
running
onto my
on
last few
fumes.
cents. Yeah, I was running on fumes. And so
You weren't
I
working
remember-
any place, right?
no, I wasn't working anywhere.
Okay.
And so I remember the first third, I did get the 100 in about 2 weeks, but the first third, I did it on my bicycle. Because I didn't have a car. Yeah, like I'd borrow my mom's car.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I didn't know you're driving for dollars on your bicycle.
Yeah, yeah. I
Pee
got
Wee
the
Herman,
first
man.
1/3. Yeah.
Oh man, that's even better than I thought. Okay.
Yeah, so I did the first third on my
Hopefully
bicycle.
it wasn't during June or July.
No.
Oh,
Well, it was a May-ish, just towards the summer.
So if
it
you
wasn't
if
hot
you're
yet.
from
It wasn't
Phoenix,
super
man,
hot
it
yet.
gets
But
hot.
It's
here.
warm,
Oh,
yeah.
it was hot, yeah, but not
Triple
like crazy,
digits.
crazy
Yeah,
hot.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, so I got the first few on my bicycle, and then once it started to get too hot, then I went in the car and ended up getting that list in about 2 weeks. Sent it to him. He skip traced it for me, and I just started cold calling all of them. I remember I went into the office at the brokerage that I work at too,
Uh-huh.
and the only thing he told me was just be nice and ask them if they want to sell. And like that was it.
And you took action on that.
Well, I came up with my own little script.
Yeah.
Kind of piggybacking off of that. Something along the lines of, my name is David. I'm with S.J. Fowler Real Estate, which I learned later on. Don't do that because that's too long. People don't. Their retention on the phone
You got
isn't
3
that long.
seconds.
Yeah,
3
yeah,
different
Yeah,
seconds.
yeah. The retention is not long. So that day I ended up doing, I didn't get through half. I got through maybe like a third of the list.
Mhm.
And then went home, went again that next day. I was doing it on weekends too, calling that list. And then I remember that first list I got to, I was at about number 60-ish when I got my first FU.
Right on.
Yeah. But that one kind of like,
And I told you not to call that early again.
yeah, no, after I got that first one, it kind of, I was like, do I really want to do this? I don't want people to,
Cut
cuss
you
at me
out.
over
Well,
the
it's not
phone.
uncommon to
Yeah.
have like doubts, especially if you're struggling, to get through it. Because like anything else, no all-star shows up his first rookie year and knocks it out of the park. It just
Right.
doesn't happen. If it does,
Well,
it's-
also, I think I truly believe that's how we're tested.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
we get the roadblocks, we get those like, okay, a fork in the road. What are you going to do now? Are you going to quit?
Yeah.
Or are you going to keep going? And that's a
Right.
big thing because a lot of people quit.
Yeah.
So did you quit?
Well, no. So that day I did end up leaving. After I had that phone call, I was like, you know what? I'm done for the day. I went home. I just relaxed. And then next day I was like, all right, let's go do it again.
Yeah.
So I went in again and I started making those calls. And it was towards the end of the call where I finally had a lead. All I cared about was getting a yes. That was it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know numbers because I knew that if I needed numbers or anything, I'd call you
Yeah.
or you.
yeah.
So all I cared about was getting a yes. So when I finally did get a yes, it was a relative that I had reached. She was a daughter of the owner. And I just said, hey, drove by your property. I'm just wondering if you might be interested in selling it. And she passed on my message to him. And then he called me back the next day. And then I started negotiating what I call negotiating. I mean, at the time I thought I was negotiating, but really he was just telling me when he wanted it. And I was like, okay. And then
Order take.
basically, just taking what he said, and then that's when I reached out to you, and you said I think we needed to get it for 25,000, and I tried, and he wouldn't come down past 30, and then you said reach out to him because it's something up his alley, and I hadn't yet told you the numbers yet, but I said, hey, this is the property. I think I don't remember if I showed you pictures of it or not, but you told me if we could get it for 30 grand, we can do the deal.
Yeah.
And in my head, I already knew like he was going to take the 30 grand. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay. I remember telling you on the phone, okay, I think he'll go for it. And so the next day we ended up hopping on a 3-way call.
Yeah.
And you took it from there. Like
Yeah.
I
Well,
just
that's the
stayed
thing,
in the
though, is
background
it's-
and I
it's
let you
just-
take care of it.
And it works out good because it's good. One sets him up, the other knocks it down, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Where it's just you're really good at having the persistence to keep at these things and keep pounding it and pounding it, pounding it, pounding it, and pounding it. Because I can't remember when was the last time a motivated seller showed up at your door begging you to do a deal with them.
Yeah.
You got to go find
Yeah,
them. They're not.
yeah.
They're really going to find you. I mean, it happens, but it's less common. And on that one, I'm trying to remember where. So when you're driving for lists, I mean, when you're driving around looking for hammered, beat up properties, and this one was, a hammered, beat up property.
Yeah.
Was it a
and
single family home, a mobile home, manufactured home?
It was hybrid of both. So it was like a mobile home.
It's mobile with add-ons.
Yeah, it was a mobile with like a concrete add-on in the back, like a living room. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like it.
Oh, I've seen some
to this day.
I saw one. I looked at this one time. It was this two-story mobile.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was-
The thing was
So-
ready to collapse.
So,
Craziest thing.
did you get this one locked up?
we did. Yeah, he ended up helping me.
Yeah.
We locked it down for the 30 grand.
What was the deal? Wasn't there something with them where what was the deal with the signature stuff? Sometimes you find where the people that are in trouble, because we find most millennials, most guys your age are real high tech, they're real tech savvy. With some sellers, I mean, was it them or another one that they didn't have email, or they couldn't figure out how to get this thing signed, or was it this
It
one?
was
or
another
different?
one.
Okay,
Yeah, it
okay.
was another one.
So, but yeah, that's the issue you have too, is a
Uh-huh.
lot of these younger guys that are high tech guys trying to.
Dealing with older
Yeah.
people that have homes and they don't even have the email. And stuff.
Yeah.
So this one, tell me, so you got it locked up for 30.
Mhm.
Okay. And then what happened?
So we held on to it. This one we decided we wouldn't flip it immediately because that I remember when he used to live there, he knew everyone like on
the
that
street.
street.
Yeah,
Everyone. So we didn't want to just immediately flip it, make a profit, and then those neighbors tell the owner.
Yeah.
So we ended up hanging on to it. I think
We
for
took
like-
it down,
yeah, we took
closed
it
on
down.
it, funded it, and we trashed it out, got everything out of there. and-
Yeah, all secured. And since that was my baby, I was like driving by. Like,
That's
my
how we
first
did it.
deal, was my very
yeah.
first deal. So like every other day I was driving by just to check up on it. But then once we got it all,
And we didn't
cleaned
spend that
up,
much trashing it out. I don't remember what it was, but it was probably less than.
I remember a storm came by. I don't know if you remember, but a storm came by, and the
Oh yeah, that's
the
right.
patio, the remodel or whatever that was connected to it was completely destroyed after
Oh, no.
a storm came by, and we had a guy go and fix it as best as he could. And then once we finally sold it, we
We bought it for 30, and we sold for somewhere in the high 50s, somewhere around there, 57, 50.
I just know we ended up making 26,000 on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
26,000
first
profit.
So I think we almost sold. Yeah, just
Profit,
under
Woo!
first deal.
Awesome, man.
So I made
Yeah.
I made 13,000 on that very
How did
first
that
deal.
feel?
Yeah.
How did that feel whenever you got that money?
God,
You know, it probably was a told you so. All the doubters out there that, oh, you can't do this, you did, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, man,
But
Well,
how
there's
for
only
real.
2 people that knew what I was doing, and they were both my parents. That was it.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Everybody else, I didn't want to
yeah,
for that reason.
yeah,
So,
exactly. You don't want the
so-
doubters giving their nonsense.
So in how many leads did that take?
Was that the 60-something one you said, or no?
Yeah, let me try to think of how many.
It was under 100
Yeah.
leads.
Well,
in your
oh yeah,
first-
way.
So
like,
in your first 100 driving for dollar leads. So
yeah, so
and that's one of the things that I implemented. Me and you talked about, and I implement with my coaching students. One of the first things I try to get them to do is, especially if they don't have any money right now, is do what I call the hot 100, where they drive around and get 100 driving for dollar leads. Start calling them, start reaching out to them, because in the first 100 to 200 really good driving for dollar leads, there's usually deals, and a lot of them it's in the follow up.
yeah,
come
well,
back
from
in
that
after that.
first list of 100, I ended up getting 2 deals, and I made like 26 grand off of just that one list. But then again, though, I mean, on the second list of 100, I didn't get anything. So
Yeah,
like
so it balances out.
Yeah, it balances itself out. But yeah, so it's
but whenever you get that money, what did that feel like? Because it was probably was that more money you made before? The most money you made at one time?
At one time, yes.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Because I mean, I was used to getting checks, like even when I worked at Wells Fargo or for a time when I worked at State Farm.
But it's like almost several months worth of pay.
Oh yeah. And I did that with like less than 5 hours of work, maybe. Yeah. 7 max. I don't even think is because when I drove by, I mean, it was just a quick checkup.
Are you counting your driving for dollars? Or are you driving by the house every day?
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, I was. But I mean, for like the 5 to 7 hours that I put into it to make 13,000, like is insane. Especially since I didn't put any money into it, so my return was just
so this is a big key because like people think you need to have a lot of money for marketing. People think you need to spend a lot, and I encourage my students to start with the free and the cheap stuff first before they spend any money on like huge amounts of direct mail or pay-per-click or Facebook ads. Like all that stuff can work, but usually we're starting with a small budget. You were driving for dollars on your bicycle. Driving for dollars on your bicycle.
I was that committed that I got the list and
well, and I think too it helps where you ask what do I have an abundance of? Is it time or money? You know what I mean? Because a lot of times you have a lot of the big hitters. Time is more time is tight for them, but they have more money to roll into marketing. But when you first get started, you have an abundance of time, versus the money. And I think too, where you and I've partnered up on deals, a good strategic partner, it works for me. Hopefully it works for you, where, you were able to come in and find this stuff where you have the hunger and the ambition to chase this stuff, to drive. As you get older, you start to, you're not running as hot as you once were. You kind of not.
You're willing to spend more money on marketing because you want more time.
Yeah.
A lot of times you start flip-flopping, and there's a time where you do. Yeah. And you start like time's more important than the money.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But so now let's fast forward. Where have you got now? You've done several deals now. You've done multiple deals.
About a dozen.
Yeah.
About
a dozen deals. Now, where have you got the majority of your deals?
Driving for dollars.
That's a secret sauce, man. I mean, that's what it's like, can something else work?
Who has that list that you have?
No one. That's what I like. Like, you can't buy a list like that.
Yeah.
You just can't. Because like there's one deal that I did that we did recently that there was no way nobody would have gotten that deal if they didn't drive by. Which one? This was in Pinal County.
Okay.
The one on Sea Lane.
Yeah.
So this property had just sold 30 days before. Mm-hmm. This woman had bought it trying to fix it up herself. She was coming from California.
Yeah.
She moved here because she had something else that happened in her hopefully, dramatic or whatever. And I drove by the property and I saw it. And then that's when we sent out, I think it was a piece of mail.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting that deal. But she had not even owned it, I think, for 30 days.
Well, not only that, she wasn't going to come up on a tax list, wasn't going to come up on a code enforcement list, wasn't going to come up on an eviction list. Yeah, nothing, man. I mean, off the grid.
So let me ask you this. How do you reach out to these people, these leads, these driving for dollar leads?
There's a lot of different ways to do it. So I've used social media, cold calling, texting, but that one's going to, love kind of hate with that one.
Yeah.
And direct mail.
Yeah.
And so when have you got the best response from what?
It's a tie between direct mail and cold calling, but social media has actually not been doing too bad for me either.
But here's what's interesting is how much does it really cost for you to send one postcard or one letter?
To
$1.
And if you have like a couple hundred leads, maybe a couple hundred bucks, that list, that's like a stacked list. I talk about stacking lists on motivational factors. That house was owner occupied, but it was vacant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was vacant.
Vacant. All these were vacant.
And it was still in the model of being remodeled. It was still in the process of being remodeled.
She hadn't even started it yet. I mean, she didn't. I don't think she
actually lived in California, but it showed owner occupied. Mm-hmm. So stacked motivation would be non-owner occupied, really, because her mailing was probably going someplace else. Yeah. And then it was a vacant house.
Fixer,
so think about those motivating factors. Now, what do you look for? What are the things that you're looking for when you're looking for these houses that you think are going to be good leads for driving for dollars?
Well, now I almost get, since I've been doing it for over a year, I get like almost like a sixth sense.
Yeah, tingling in the
Yeah, just
loins.
because you do it for so long. And like, there was one that, like that we did not long ago that the tenant had just moved out. I had no idea the tenant just moved out, but I drove by the property. I mean, it needed some paint. This was another one on Padres. The one that we sold to Travis. But that one I was iffy on getting at all to begin with because it didn't look, like, it would look vacant and the paint was a little messed up. And that was it.
Yeah.
But I got it anyway, and it ended up being the deal. But now, I mean, when I drive, one of the first things that I probably look for, obviously, is just the weeds. How's it maintained?
Yeah. Maintenance of the house.
Maintenance of the house.
Deferred maintenance.
Yeah,
stuff like
uncapped.
that.
Yeah, and then
cars on blocks.
Now you start
Not
to
for
you start to
cars
get like
so
a sixth
much.
sense of like you sniff like oh, I think no one's living here. Or I think this one is like something's going on here.
Yeah.
We were even driving around yesterday in Arizona City and even came across a couple.
You can kind of see, like, is there like flyers on the doors and garbage bins left out and stuff like that.
Yeah. Now you can tell. I mean, after a while, you'll be able to almost tell like which ones are vacant and on. You can just tell. Like, there's been properties where I'll drive by them and I'll look through the window too, and like I'll see a mountain of boxes through the window. And that's obviously like another. It could be a hoarder. Like you never know.
You know, it's interesting. I was with my brother in Indiana a couple weeks ago, and we're driving by a couple of properties that he has locked up and stuff. And one of the properties was like down at the end of the road, the very last house with broken windows, stuff in there like 1960. You know, the 64 Commodore computers.
Yeah.
Like the really old computers, and like this house was vacant. It was just like old computer parts, like from the 80s and stuff. And it was like, okay, and it's like dust bunnies everywhere. And it had one of those ACs or like ancient.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, how did you, and he found this house, but like, that's a perfect example of driving for dollars house. Like, and if you don't take that drive down, you won't know.
Yeah. And
because they're paying their taxes a lot of times. Yeah. Sometimes you don't know.
Well, the big thing that comes into driving for dollars is timing. Like, at least that's what I've learned is timing. Because you'll drive like that one that I gave you the example of where if I wouldn't have drove past it, there's no way I would have gotten that.
What about, remember even that one you did, we did that one over on Malcolm, where you were in contact, tell us a couple of these were, I've been telling you, persistence pays off, where you were in contact with some of these sellers for months.
Yeah, so this year, that was the second deal that I did that came from my first list of 100.
Okay.
So I called him and he had sold the property, but on the tax and the tax records, it showed that it was a rental, but he had sold it and he was carrying the note on it, apparently something like that. And
they had some weird like contract for
they had some weird kind of thing going on.
Nothing done right, and it was a mess.
But I ended up contacting him, and then we went to go meet with. He was interested in selling.
Yeah.
But he said if the current occupant is also interested in selling, then you guys can take it. So we went to meet with him. He owned a shop like right next door to that property.
Well, tell the unique thing about that thing is I actually owned the commercial building next door, and he was one of my commercial tenants.
Oh, no.
yeah. But like,
it's a small shop.
World,
yeah, isn't it funny? So I knew who he was, and he knew who I was. And I'd since sold the building after this, but it was one of my past commercial tenants.
Yeah, and so we went, and he ended up not wanting to sell. So I called the guy later. I was like, he's not interested in selling.
So he's put on the shelf.
Put on the shelf. And then I get a call like maybe a month and a half, 2 months later. And he says, hey, are you guys still interested in buying it? And I said, yeah. Why? What's going on? He's like, oh, well, that guy that you talked to, his name was Fred. It's like he is in the hospital, and it looks like he's not going to make it. So if you guys are still interested in buying it.
Because there's no way Fred's family could have taken care of this thing.
Yeah, he wasn't getting money anymore. So he's like,
if
I'm not getting money anymore, then I don't want the property. So we ended up buying, and that was a whole story in and of itself. There was like 9 cats on that property that died. Oh my god!
But here's the thing: is you're solving problems. Like, people
absolutely.
forget. Like, we think that all these are going to be like tied up with a bow and cherry on top, and everything's super easy. These are not always easy. We have to be persistent.
Well, and think about this too. The owner, the California owner, was an older retired gentleman. He'd owned multiple properties for multiple years. Do you think he wants to pack up in his car or get in a plane and fly out here and mess with this nonsense?
No,
there's no way. So, and then we'll tell some of the story. So you closed on it, right? You closed
Yeah, so
on
we
it.
closed on it.
What
Yeah,
was the
we
price?
remember
Do
that
you
one.
remember what the price was?
I think we also got that one for 30 because we
30's the magic number.
yeah, it was like it was one
You're
street
buying
over.
for 30, you're okay.
Yeah, it was one street over from the first deal I did.
Oh,
And there was
so
two.
we
Yeah,
used that as a
yeah.
comp.
There's two mobiles, one lot. The lot was huge, and then one of the places was hammered, I think, and didn't
Not livable. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
so we
not
had that
livable.
trashed out. Had a guy show up, haul it off, and then what was the deal? There's some guy living in an RV in the backyard, wasn't there?
Yeah, with a pit bull, the big old pit bull. Oh,
Yeah. We couldn't go over there because it's thinking pit bull, and it was.
Oh my gosh.
And then remember we talked about? I said, hey, you need to get that guy out of there. And what happened? He kept kicking. He wanted to do it on.
Oh, yeah,
I
he
think I remember this
after.
story. I think I remember this story.
Yeah, because we were like,
he wouldn't
"Can you
leave
this
till when?
Friday?"
Like Friday?
Yeah, he kept saying Friday.
Because you bought the house, but he was living in the RV in the back. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was
The
only
van
supposed to be
down
one
by the
person
river.
there.
Yeah.
There was only one tenant there. Oh, and his brother.
Yeah.
And then this guy had like just gotten out of prison like not that long ago, and so he just decided to take up residency at the property because he was friends with the tenant.
And he kept saying, I can't move out till Friday. And then we finally talked about, we're like, why Friday? I don't understand what's going on Friday that it has to happen then. And what was his problem?
He said he needed a battery.
And he needed
and
money for gas. So what did you do?
So, yeah, I went with him. I don't remember if I took him in my car or not. But we went to the gas station.
And the
we got
Walmart.
him at Walmart, and we got him a battery and gas. And he was gone that day.
And then
You got him when he needed.
Yeah,
then you said, I think, did you say you were going to give him like 20 or 40 bucks to leave too?
Oh,
And then
if he
you
actually
held the
left.
money in the street and said, as soon as you drive that thing off the property, I'll hand you the
Yeah, we
money
gave him the
as
extra
you're driving
5
by.
bucks.
Get the heck out.
Yeah, you're right. We did. We told him if you leave when you say, we'll give you an extra.
Because one thing I've learned is
extra cash.
I don't need the what. I want to know the why. The guy said,
Uh-huh.
oh, I can't leave until Friday. Well, why is Friday such a magical date? Well, because I don't know why. He's supposed to get some
Paid or
money or he
something,
got paid or something like that. So, I mean, we found that and there's no way we're going to be able to sell this property to some people that's going to attack that goes over it. Plus, we're going to go over it. And then who's going to want to go buy property? So, a battery, you just got them like a tank of gas, right? Just like a thing where you put it in there.
5 gallons or something.
Yeah, it was one of those.
And then 20
I don't remember,
40
20 or
bucks,
40
yeah,
bucks.
something like that.
Wait for it as soon as.
Oh
he-
yeah,
as
I'd
soon
like,
as
hey,
he-
hold that sucker out. The
Yeah,
guy-
as soon as I got off the property, I'm like, all right, here you go. And
Well, what's funny is guess where he moved? He
Yeah,
moved to
right
the vacant lot
behind,
behind us.
behind us.
I'm like, why did we give him money? We should have just taken down the fence, pushed it on the other side of the
Oh,
fence, and put it back up.
Yeah,
But it was funny. The lot behind it was like 5 acres.
But
so
at
he was
least,
way over
at least you got to show the house and get access and stuff.
yeah, we did. Yeah, so when we ended up listing that thing,
there.
yeah, we were able to
my
get
goodness!
people in and out, and even the tenant, we ended up paying him to move out too because he
Yeah.
showed interest in leaving.
Yeah.
We were gonna leave him in there, I think, for like a month or two.
But one thing with like, especially properties that are fixer upper, what I find is, and
Mhm.
it's better just to get him out, get it vacant. I just want
Yeah.
the ease of having it shown. It's easy to show. Obviously, if it's a fourplex, you want to keep it full. But something like this, where the mobiles, it was hammered, man. It was just,
Yeah.
So it made sense to get them out.
Now, one of the things that I've kind of helped put together for my students too is just some basic step-by-step instructions and a little video of me driving for dollars. Now, I know that you're starting to delegate some of that.
trying to,
some people. Now, what are some tools or apps or tricks that you feel like have been helpful for you?
So when I first started doing it, I was using Google Maps. So it was free.
Yeah.
I had a notebook, just rolled it in. Or no, I think I screenshotted it. Yeah, I screenshotted it once I got the address, and then I'd get home and get all the addresses down. But then you told me about Landglide.
Yeah, he's like the app king right here, man.
Yeah,
this
you told me
guy.
about Landglide, and then I got to deal with that like a month later, I think, or a month and a half.
Woohoo. And I got free dinner out of it.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. Rodizio.
Rodizio.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
it. Now you're making me
I
hungry.
remember,
I love it.
Rodizio.
Yeah.
That's what I've been using ever since.
That's
So
And then you
Data's
also,
real
what's
good.
the app that you use? The postcard
I
one.
love Deal Machine.
Yeah.
It's really great because what I like about Deal Machine is, sometimes it's a little more expensive, but you can like have the enhanced search and get the phone numbers for the people while you're in front of the house, call them or text them. And
Okay,
also
good
comes
thing.
with email.
Nice.
Now, it
Very
doesn't
nice.
work on every person, right? And then if we have the mailing address, you can send them a postcard right then and there.
Yeah.
And it can repeat like every 3 weeks or however often you want.
Nice.
So
Nice.
the Deal Machine is awesome for trying for dollars,
Yeah.
especially
yeah.
as I've started with some of my students and employees trying to use that, it's like taking a lot of it out of hand. You can also set up an enterprise account where you control who mails what or who searches for what.
Wow.
So if you don't want them spending a ton of money sending mailers or doing enhanced searches, you can just have them put everything in that list. And now you got a huge driving for dollar list, and then figure out how to do that.
Well, and not only that, like how many times, like, heck, I got like something like a little note in my car on some address that I've been meaning to mail for 2 weeks, where that you can just point, click, and it's done, right?
It's easy. It's so easy.
Yeah.
And what else? Like I have some salespeople out in Atlanta. Oops. Wow. Okay. That was weird.
Traveling somewhere?
Let's do that. There we go. Okay. I won't touch anything.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was traveling. We have some sales guys out in Atlanta and Tampa and stuff. And so basically just did a real simple driving for dollars process. So what I do is I have them print out a simple letter that if no one's home, they just tape the letter on the door, and it helps initiate a call.
Oh, nice.
They also use Landglide and Deal Machine. So the deal is in these areas, minimum wage is like less than $10 an hour. So they pay them like $10 an hour, and they're supposed to get 5 driving for dollar leads an hour.
5 an hour.
5 an hour. Is that realistic?
Well, the guy that I have, I mean, right now I don't know how many hours he's doing it, but he's getting 50 per day.
50 per day?
Yeah, 50
Awesome.
per day is what I have him doing. He's not sticking the papers on the wall, on the doors or anything like that, but that's the way that I've been doing it. I mean, I'll jot it
you
down.
You can pay him per lead, or you can just give him a split on the deal.
Split on the deal.
And we could even, what you can even do is, because you can even have through like, those little 3M Post-it notes or whatever it's called. You can even have it where they're already pre-printed.
Yeah.
Stick, they're already
Hey, my name is blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Give me a call.
I want to buy your house.
I want to buy your house. And
So,
it's a Post-it note you just put on the door.
Yeah. We should do that. Yeah.
Oh, now we're giving
Except
you
for-
ideas.
Yeah,
Some of these have dogs.
spinning
That's what I
that.
think. Some of these have dogs, so or the feral
Just bring
cats.
biscuits, man. Just bring biscuits.
But this is also like if you can get it. I mean,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And sometimes it's better if they call you. It's almost feels a little
Oh,
warmer.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because
Oh,
they're
I
calling
like
you
it
for
way
purpose.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Because
yeah.
you control the conversation
Absolutely.
versus
Yeah.
when you're calling them and
Because they're calling
need to get
because
over
they-
that.
Yeah.
multiple
They
hills.
need
before-
something.
And then one of the other apps that I really like, and I don't know if you've used it, is Property Radar for pre-foreclosures. In Arizona, it doesn't work in every state. It works only about 5 states.
Is it
Foreclosure.com.
foreclosure.com? Yeah.
But
But I don't
Property
know if
Radar
they
will
have an app
highlight
for
that if you're in a neighborhood, it'll geolocate what
Oh, you're
houses are around
Oh,
you
nice.
that are in foreclosure.
And you can check those to see if they're vacant or not.
And then add them to your driving for dollar list and follow up with them too.
Sweet.
Yeah, so there you go. We need to go driving for dollars.
And you know what? Let's talk about one other thing. You know what's interesting is what other thread. There's one other common thing that some of these deals have all been tied to. Is can you remember, like
I think
deceased owners?
There's
You
a
know
lot
what I
of
mean?
deceased owners.
How many of these you've been able to track down their heirs?
You're really good
No.
you're really good
Eloy?
about skip tracing and using
Eloy,
different techniques.
the one in
and
AJ,
free techniques.
Casagran.
those
There's been
things
at
are
least
super
3 where they've had to go through probate or informal probate.
Yeah, there's been some where I've gone through like the owner's dead, so I go through family members, but I can't find any family members. So I'll find, I think it's friends or family members of those. I've gone so deep where I've taken like 30, 45 minutes just trying to find one person.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't, but sometimes I do.
And that's a total sniper approach. But I'll tell you what, I mean, when you get those deals, those
But
are pretty sweet because nobody's going after that.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
It's such a good small niche list,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Because a lot of the money's in that list, that niche list. A lot of times.
Yeah, the ones that are really tough to find.
Yeah,
If you can
absolutely.
find them.
Because if we're
You're the
having a hard
only
time,
one
that
that's
means everyone's
contacting
having a
them.
hard time finding
Now,
them.
how has the app Landglide help? Like, what does it do?
Well, when you're driving, I mean, I have it pulled up on my iPad now whenever I do it. I have like a whole system now when I'm doing it, but I got the iPad here and, it's just tracking my location and it'll track, exactly where I'm going. And then I have another app that will track where I've been. So I'm not going in the same places twice.
What's that one?
It's, I don't remember what it's called.
Oh.
I mean,
We'll figure it out.
you
Probably show
use it.
notes.
but yeah, it'll tell me where I've been, so I don't go there twice.
Yeah, that's good.
And then as I'm
The deal
going,
machine does that now too.
Oh, you're
but,
kidding.
does it?
Yeah, and there's a Simple Crew, and there's some other ones that will track your routes and stuff
Oh,
too.
you're kidding.
Route Me or something like that.
Okay.
but when I'm going, I mean, as I'm going, it's obviously following me. The second I see a property, I'll just move it over to the side or click on that property. It'll give me parcel number, the
Owner
address,
info.
owner information.
And I like what you do here. You don't even take the time to write it down, do you? You just
I just screenshot
Screenshot
it.
it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I screenshot it.
Nice.
I'll get whatever 50, 100 that day, whatever it is, and I shoot it up to Dropbox. And then the VA knows that I have. He'll take those and put them on a
Nice.
Google Doc for me.
Nice.
And
I
then we
love it.
just skip trace them.
so
and
here's the
there we
thing:
go.
is it's a simple system, simple, but it's effective.
Yeah.
And it's scalable. Really, it is something that can be scaled.
Yeah, because the more drivers you have, the
Yeah.
more they're shooting up to that
Yeah.
Dropbox, and the more he's putting down. And
Now, let me ask you this: how important has someone like Dave as a mentor? How important has mentors and partners and JV partner been helpful for you in your business?
vital. Just because I don't know, there's so many things I don't know
Mm-hmm.
that I can rely on him for the answers
And
or
has-
just to help, which
tons
he's more than willing to do if he's getting half my
What?
half my deal. Just kidding. But no, like
my very
he's-
first deal was a JV deal with Sean Terry. It was a wholesale deal, and we did a 50-50 split.
Mhm.
He actually showed up to the house, helped negotiate the deal.
Nice. Nice.
So, like,
which is what he
there's
does. Yeah.
there's something
Yeah.
like, I mean, and it's also, you think about all the stuff you get to learn whenever you're sitting
Well,
across
plus,
the table.
yeah.
Commercial stuff
Yeah.
that I've learned. Like
Yeah.
he's
No,
been so vital that I don't even think. And then he's also been more like what's the word? Like an accountability.
Accountability
Two.
partner.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
which has been real
What you
vital.
been working
too.
on? Let's get. What do we got cooking?
Yeah,
here? What's
come in the
going on?
morning, like
Yeah.
what's going on? Like
He
do you
loves
have
that,
anything-
though, doesn't
he?
he?
He does.
Yeah,
Yes, he does.
yeah.
So it's
And I
been super
think-
vital.
And I think everyone, like I was talking earlier with a couple of your other guys, is just everyone has different likes to have different accountability and different motivation. You know what I mean? Like some people like, what did I ask you before? I said, hey, how do you, what gets you motivated or what, gets you going and stuff like that. Everyone's going to have different answers. Some people
Right.
like to be coached, encouraged. Some people like to be kicked in the rear, and everyone's different,
Some people just like, pat on the backs and
Yeah.
gift cards and
Yeah.
stuff. Other people like, no,
Show me the
got,
money.
you got to kick me in the rear end.
Which he's done before. Yeah, done before.
But also what I like is the mentality that you have too, Dave, and that he's helped me too, is like, let's just go figure this out together.
Yeah.
Let's jump on the phone. Let's do the comps.
Yeah.
Let's go buy the house together and let's just look at it and see what the neighborhood looks like. and
Well, there's
stuff like
something about just boots on the ground. I mean, yeah, it's good to automate stuff, but I mean, you can only automate it so.
But your
so much.
spreads, $26,000 spreads, that's
Yeah.
bigger than the norm.
Yeah.
And
But it
Well,
also what's interesting
most of
is
the norm here is
wholesaling, I
like
guess.
most of the norm is 12 to 15,000
Yeah.
in Phoenix, maybe 18 to 20 in some areas. But I mean, you guys are doing like 26, 30,000
Yeah.
plus spreads.
Yeah. And mind you, we're taking them down. You know what I
I
mean?
know,
We're not
but
trying
still.
to wholesale, but yeah, we're taking them down and closing on.
But he
putting our
can
name.
you can wholesale it that way
Yeah.
because you can wholesale it that way because you are able to have the funds to take it down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the funds to back me up whenever I get a deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
There's
it's super
some-
vital. Super vital.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something about having the confidence to go in and says, "Hey, listen, man, we're not passing this thing on. We are the guys. We are the closers.
Right.
We have the money. We're the guys. We're not trying to pass the buck and flip it to 5 different people. We're actually closing on all these." So,
Yeah, and especially to begin with, like all I cared about was just getting a yes.
Yeah.
That was it.
Mhm.
Anything else after that, I didn't care about.
Yeah.
Because I knew he could help me out with it. I said, as long as we get the deal and we get it at a good price, my job's done. At least
well,
up to that point.
and it helps, to give kudos to you. It helps that you were so persistent because, like the one on Malcolm, he wasn't ready. And if
Yeah.
you would have just, forgot about it, but it's the most important thing that you've done is kept that relationship going where you just, a lot of these are older people
Wait,
and
yeah.
you're checking in to see how they're doing.
Actually, that you bring up a perfect point
Yeah.
because my first deal, it wasn't the first contact. It was about a month later. Sean was my
Yeah.
accountability partner saying, "Hey, call him back. See if she's interested to sell now." Call her
Yeah.
back like 3 weeks later, I think it was.
And it's all timing. I think it's
Follow-up.
life's time, follow up and life's timing, because a lot of times, as a landlord, everything's great until it's not great. And then when it's
Mhm.
not great, it's a big problem and you want it solved like immediately.
Right.
Well, yeah, we
So-
had one, I think it was in Apache Junction, where you'll remember this one because we couldn't build on that lot.
Oh yeah.
And the
Is
guy
that the one
wanted
that looked
to,
like an old barn.
Yeah.
yes, that one. I probably followed up with that guy at least 10 times.
Yeah.
I mean, texting him constantly, even if I didn't get anything back, because I knew he was in trouble and he wouldn't be able to do anything with it. He wouldn't sell it at our price because he wanted to try to get the lot to be buildable.
Because a lot of the houses around there were selling pretty high.
Yeah, they were
they
custom
were all-
homes, nothing
yeah.
nothing but custom homes all around.
And his was basically like a shed you get from Home Depot with that add-on to it.
Yeah,
or something.
it was,
Modular home.
and then I think was it in the 70s? And then we finally agreed to the 50s, and then we found out it had problems with the county, and then we got them down to, was it 30?
30.
It's always 30.
Or no, I think it was 25 to 30. Yeah, one of the two. Yeah,
30,
25 to 30. But he ended up taking it because he couldn't do anything with it. He couldn't move it. So, and he lived all the way, or he lived
On
in
the west side. I mean, in the other side of the world.
on the
I mean,
other side of the
hour and a
valley.
half out.
Now, what type of profit did you make on that one?
20? 19? It was 19.
Which one was which?
He remembers.
Yeah.
That was on
like-
Prospectors.
Yeah. So
Prospectors.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It was
something
18.
like
It was 18.4. Yeah.
Oh, 18.4.
So
There you go.
Just
That's
under
awesome.
money. And then
But either way, I mean, for the amount of hours I put
let's
into that
talk
one
about
was-
what about the one? Remember the one on Clint?
Oh,
So this thing was a dog, a perro. So it was over at AJ.
it was so bad. I mean, it was, I think, probably one of the biggest, not the biggest deal we did. But
Oh,
man,
it was terrible. And it was like, I'm trying to remember what was, it was the guy owed back taxes. It had code stuff. It had vacant, out of state. I mean, just deceased.
Probate,
just the beat goes on. And then you hounded this guy. He was living with his brother or something crazy like that. So the seller was living with his brother for free. And the brother was working like a dog. And this guy was just, mooching off him.
Oh,
And you finally got a hold. Did you get a hold of the brother and said,
Yeah, I
"Listen,
got a hold of the
we're ready to
brother,
buy this thing. We have someone to help you get all the paperwork done with the probate stuff. All your brother has to do is take our phone call and sign a couple of things." And he got pissed because he's like, "Wait a minute, my brother's got all this money that's supposed to be coming. He's sitting mooching off me." So his brother finally kicked him in the rear.
Yeah, his brother. If it wasn't for the brother, like we would have not gotten. He was the one that was
Man.
He just had
continually
his head in
pushing
the
him
sand.
to.
And I I think after we just sent him a gift. Did we send him a gift card for
we
something
sent
or
him a
other?
gift card.
Walmart, something.
And we ended up
Amazon,
playing
something.
family therapist on that one too.
Solving problems.
Oh, it
Yeah,
was
'cause, like
insane.
family members,
Oh, it was-
when it had to go through probate, they didn't want to talk to each other.
There was two sisters that haven't
Oh.
talked to him in years and years and years, or stepsisters, or they're half sisters or something. And they thought it was a scam or something like that. So we had to overcome their objections and stuff.
Yeah,
And
we had to. I don't remember if we got him on a. Oh no! We were sitting in another property.
yeah, we're doing an
And
open house on the one in Sossaman. I
And
still remember that.
we called the homeowner and we told him this is what she wants.
Yeah.
And we hung up with him and then we called her and told her this is what he wants, and they both agreed to it. We never even got them to talk to each other, like ever.
Gee,
that's what I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had
exactly.
that-
Dr. Phil.
Yeah, the intermediary.
See if
whatever
they're ready to
between
get
both of them.
real.
Well, look, you're still pretty young, 24, right? 24. Done a dozen deals, mainly all driving for dollars. Not a lot of overhead from this marketing stuff like that. So in what ways in the last year and a half or so since you've been doing this has life changed? Do you have a car now instead of a bike? Two cars. Two
No,
cars
seriously,
now.
you got a new swing. No.
You got a new swing.
Two cars, yeah.
Yeah. Are you able to go on any trips or take some time and do some stuff?
Yeah, I'm just not really the kind that really spends.
Yeah, you're.
Well,
a
yeah, I
saver.
mean, you went to California, went to Mexico, you went down, and you're probably at the point too where, you're able to help other people out. and
Yeah,
stuff,
like I've
and-
let now friends borrow.
Yeah.
I don't tell them how much exactly I have because you're constantly handing me for money. But yeah, I mean,
But you've helped out some people.
yeah, and like I have now.
you don't have to be the one flashing that around either.
No,
it's not
no.
your style either.
It's not. I mean,
You know.
I think the last time I bought a shirt was probably like a couple years ago. Like, I still have all my high school clothes because they all fit.
Yeah.
Like I'm just not the kind of person that really buys that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, if we're talking like
Well, you're smart. You're saving it. You invested.
Yes.
You bought some land with some
gold,
of the stuff.
silver, I've been
gold,
putting in stuff
silver.
that's just been increasing in value. But
And that's smart though, because you're playing the long game. I mean, the reality is what's funny in this business. I always kind of get a kick out of it. I mean, it's almost like there was a movie. Do you ever remember Brewster's Millions?
Yeah.
Had
yeah.
Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor's
He
in it,
had
right?
30 days to spend $30 million. He couldn't own an asset.
Yeah.
He had to just piss through it. And and some of the, it's funny because some guys are playing that game, and it's like, you know what? I mean, you're smart, saving your money, investing your money, because there's going to be a time in your life where you get tired, burned out, and you're not going to have the energy to run like you used to run.
Right.
And that's when it's nice to have your assets kick in and start taking care of you.
So,
Yeah.
So what's your goals for 2020? And then like, what would be your, like, after this year, like, what would be your, like, your 5-year goal?
So right now I'm trying to work on just try to scale. Obviously, I know everyone's
Yeah.
scale, but try to get some drivers that having a huge operations like some of these guys really just doesn't appeal to me. I'm just not the kind of person that wants like a 20 or 30
Same for you,
people
I know.
team.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
just keep it lean and
'cause
mean, man.
At a certain point, you're just managing people, which some people like it.
Yeah, like I said,
really
yeah, it
don't.
works for some, but
I like to have it lean and mean. I'd like to add maybe a few more drivers just to keep the drum for dollars list coming. Try out of state if I can.
So how many VAs or drivers or anything?
One VA,
okay,
me, and then one driver. So
Okay.
far. So me with another one today. We'll see.
nice.
If I can get
Awesome.
another driver for me, and then 5 years.
And what's do you have an income goal for 2020 or a deal goal or anything like that?
Deals, more deals. If I can get 2 to 4 deals per month, yeah. Because the income. I know the income will come.
Yeah,
I know the income will come
Because you don't have kids,
not married,
that you know about, and
I have a girlfriend. Before she watches this,
I
and says
tease
that I'm
it, man.
single.
I tease it. But no, you're not married. You don't have kids. So I mean, you don't. You don't, like, for me. I got, including myself. 5 mouths to feed, and you have 4.
Yeah.
And so it's you're smart, keeping it lean, and
keeping the
saving
expenses
it.
low
Yeah,
and saving money. I love
it's
it.
smart.
So,
Well, I've always been the person to I like the option of, if I want to buy something, I like having the option, I can if I want to.
yeah.
But I don't anyway.
Yeah.
There was what did I hear? I'd rather have the $20. This was for women, but I'll use the analogy.
Yeah.
$20 purse with $400 in it, or the $400 purse with $20.
I like that.
I like that
I
analogy.
would rather have obviously
The $20 person.
I'd rather have a $20 purse with $400 in it.
It's the big
I
hat,
like
no
that.
cattle theory.
Yeah.
But you know what else I like is there was something like you got a little wild hair under you and you wanted to drive some fun cars and stuff. So you went on Turo or whatever.
Yeah, rented out some. Yeah,
and you
Peeled out and
I filled out one of the ones that you had. Yeah. But that was, you rented it for a day or two and
you
had
kind
some
of get it
fun.
out of your. Yeah, you're just like, hey, I want to do something fun. You get it out of your system, and it's like, yeah, hey, you don't
because
have
the rest of the
overhead
time it's driving
insurance.
for dollars.
Yeah.
Just going back and forth for
Yeah.
errands and stuff.
Looking out on those for anyone that rents those. Wear shades or a helmet. That was on the freeway. I think we were doing 70, and a rock. I wasn't wearing glasses, and a rock flung up and hit me right here.
Oh,
It stung. And then I forced my buddy to give me his glasses just for protection while we were going to go have dinner with this guy.
Word to the wise, yeah.
Yeah, super dangerous. Very fun.
so 5 years. What's the goal for 5 years from now? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Definitely commercial stuff. It doesn't have to be the big multi-million-dollar, buildings. Between 500 to $1 million, maybe dollar buildings. Where we've talked about it before, we'll take something that's retail and make it into something else somehow.
Oh,
Get
change
more tenants in
adaptive
there.
use, change of
Yeah.
use, yeah.
And you've
But
had
definitely
some.
commercial.
He's had some experience in that too.
And he does. Yes.
Yeah.
He does.
So more cash flow properties, commercial properties down the road 5 years from now.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, and married and 10 kids or what?
Jury's still out.
Oh no.
Yeah,
We'll put that. We'll put a pin in that.
Guys sweat.
We'll put a
Yeah.
pin on that right there.
Got him in the hot seat.
Hey, by the way, we got a special announcement for David's girlfriend.
That David.
Yeah. No, not yours. We'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's cool. So there's a lot of beginners out here, a lot of newbies and stuff like that. What advice would you have for them? The people are watching this yeah, that's fun for him. He can do it, but I haven't had any success.
Well, I did the first portion on my bike, so it's really not. It's not that you can't do it. It's just how bad do you want it?
That's yeah.
I like that.
So, to begin with, like I said, I really didn't know anything about wholesaling, or because when at the time, like I really didn't even know that much what wholesaling was. I was still learning it. I knew about investing, flipping, and stuff like that, which is what we're wholesaling and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I just focused on, like I said, getting get the list because it works.
Yep.
100, 200, whatever. If you've got a list of 500, I mean, if you don't get a deal in there, you're not doing something right. At least to me, you're not doing something right. If you get 500, they're good properties. You don't get a deal. You should, I mean, you might be able to get 2 out of it. I mean, I got 2 out of the first 100, but once you get that, just call them, and simple script, doesn't have to be anything complicated. Do you want to sell?
So you don't need some crazy like slick hair, like using the jujitsu word play and what is it, the neuro-linguistic programming questions and stuff like that. These are just getting down to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, I mean, just ask them if they want to sell. And I mean, if he says this all the time, which is true, if they're in trouble or if they need to sell, they're going to sell. Yeah. They'll contact you.
Yeah.
So,
because if you find somebody they're just totally unrealistic. I mean, there's no deal to be had. But if you find somebody that's truly motivated, you can say,
even if you're a beginner, if you do enough calls and you find out that someone's motivated to sell it,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you ask them tell me about the property, and they'll give you a story.
Oh yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going on. You find out their situation, their motivation, everything going on. So.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too. Sometimes I'll even say, well, I mean, it's like the old, if you fixed it up, you could probably get a lot more money. Oh, I just want to be. I mean, they'll start telling you start trying to help. Oh, I don't want to be. I just want to get rid of this thing, and things been a curse, and this and that, and the other. And
here's one of the things I want to point out too is I think that I think we glance over this in this Instagram, Facebook lifestyle where we only play the highlight reels. We don't always talk about like behind the scenes and the ups and the downs and the roller coasters and stuff like that. But, a lot of people say, oh, I'm making all this money, I'm doing this and that. But really the net, right? We talk about gross versus net, right? I saw this funny meme of Al Sharpton back in the day where he's a couple 100 pounds, and then Al Sharpton now where he's like skinny as skinny as can be. And then talk about gross and net profits. So really the profits that you make afterwards, it really means a lot. But what's cool is your net profits are really dang close because your marketing expenses are so
you got no overhead, you don't have an office, you're not feeding a big staff, it's smart, like I said, everyone's got their own way to doing stuff, and,
but what you figure out what worked for you, and you're sticking with that and focusing and doubling down on that.
And just I always say just find 1 or 2 things and just work it to death. I mean, just keep pounding it.
Well, that's what I was.
And you become super efficient at it,
because at a certain point I was trying all these different things rather than sticking to the one that
everywhere, nowhere.
Yeah, that I was really good at. It was after I went to a seminar that was the one nugget I got for $60. It was a huge nugget. Just stick to one and just keep hitting it over and over and over.
Because it'll eventually pay off if you're doing it right.
Yeah, and like this lady was telling me that, or at least a speaker, she was saying that normally when we do our lists, we'll market to them maybe 2 to 3 times, some as low as 1, depending. Should have done more, but anyway. She was saying that she was still hitting these lists like 11, 12, 13 times, the same exact list, and still pulling deals from them. So that was telling me that I need to go back through all my Driving for Dollars and re-hit all of them.
Yeah.
Well, because think about it, though, because
ready then, but they are now.
Yeah.
The day they got the letter or contact could be everything's fine. Everything's fine for month 1, 2, 5, 10, and then month 12, tenant's out, something's gone sideways.
Someone died.
And whoever's in front of them now has a higher probability of getting the deal.
Yeah.
So
that's the biggest thing is whenever, a lot of it is follow-up. And I've ran into places where people have other postcards and have been contacted by other people, but I just happen to be sitting in the living room that day.
Yeah. And I think people do business with people they like too. So if you have some rapport, somehow you're able to connect with that person in a level that maybe someone hasn't, which, is your personable person, likable person, it definitely helps.
Oh yeah.
So
well, even we had one though, where, do you remember the guy, one seller, this was in Mesa, he didn't want to sell to the other guy because he didn't have a proof of funds. He didn't really like us better. He just knew that we had the proof of funds, and the other guy kept pushing it back.
Yeah.
Well, wait another 2 weeks and I'll show you the funds. Or wait this long.
Manana.
We ended up getting it just because
you can perform.
we could perform. Yeah,
Well, yeah,
the only
absolutely. And
reason,
that's
'cause we
what
could perform.
that was our niche. Where it's like, hey, we're the end guy on this thing. We're not
Yeah.
passing the buck. We're the end closer. So it's absolutely easy to do. So absolutely.
Well, any last bits of parting information for any of the viewers? Or
Can we go
anything?
to the Millennials? No, there.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk.
We did have one. Sorry, we forgot. Sorry, we want to dive in this.
Momento.
So you are what we call millennial.
Yes.
Okay. So how many hours a week do you work?
30.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to bump it up more though.
So there's some. I was listening to YouTube. We were listening to it earlier today.
Back from lunch.
Yeah, way back from lunch, and we were listening to dang it, my mind just
I
went
don't remember
blank.
who it was, but he was funny.
It's like a TEDx talk. Or
Yeah, TEDx talk, but Simon Sinek. So he's talking about the millennials and talking about the millennials are people born 1984 or after. And basically the question me and Dave has is a lot of times we're hiring people or looking to scale and stuff like that. And a lot of people that kind of fall in this category of wanting to learn and wanting to get going kind of fall. A lot of them are millennials, not by we're targeting them or anything.
No.
They're just like out of college or maybe did some college and entrepreneurial minded, trying to do something. What is it that you think millennials want in a work environment?
This is a tough one.
And do it general because you might be different. I mean,
Yeah, because I don't know that many millennials. Like,
We're looking at you though.
Sorry. What was it? What did you? It was cereal in a beanbag. What was the?
Yeah. The Simon Sinek said he said they want some cereal or something, some free food in a beanbag, and they want some results and they want a
ping pong
vision.
table.
A ping pong table. Yeah.
yeah.
Some stuff like that.
From the buddies that I have, and I was talking to you about it during lunch. I mean, from what I can gather, they would rather enjoy the work than get a higher pay. They do really just have to enjoy what they're doing.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Rather than make more money. 'Cause
Which
like
I mean,
said,
you can't blame them because how many?
It's
Well, they
better
probably heard.
quality of life.
Yeah,
too,
absolutely,
so.
because they probably heard their parents. Oh, I hate this job. I hate this job. How many people do you know as soon as they hit the lottery or something happens, they're gone. They quit the next day. But then you have the Warren Buffetts of the world that skip to work every day because they love what they do.
Well, I was also thinking about thinking about this too. We've had this generation that has grown up and watched a lot of their families do the hard work 50 hours a week,
and then get
take time away
some
from
corporate
family.
takeover. They get canned. They lose their pension,
and then they have no pension, or then they now look at
corporate
people
downsize.
lost houses during the housing downtick and stuff that we had. So I mean, a lot of people lost their homes, a lot of people lost their jobs, a lot of people lost retirement. So I think they're also a little more what do you call it? Cynical.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're more cynical
because they've seen the ugly side of the ugly side of the beast.
Work 40 years for and get a gold watch and small retirement.
Pension that won't be there. Well, it's interesting too is even like with communication with millennials, I noticed that like a lot of times you'll contact a lot of these people via text, right? The sellers,
the follow-ups.
Yeah, but what's interesting is, and it could be because a lot of times, how many times you'll call someone and they don't answer. But then if you text them,
and especially now, they'll
respond.
So.
And I think
people are screening calls.
Absolutely,
they don't recognize the number.
The robocalls and all that. And I think what's interesting though is that I think it's important to know your audience. Where if I'm marketing or communicating with somebody younger, then it's probably going to be via text, right?
Typically, yeah.
Some voice messaging, Vox or text, whatever.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is you go with the older population, whether it's the World War II, or whatever, the baby boomers or whatever. Yeah. Some of those might be phone call, where I mean you can't text a landline. I mean some of the the older crowd might have landlines, that kind of thing. And I think
that's what it's been with the deals that we've done. I mean, the older ones,
they want you
that I call.
And talk to that one guy. Remember the one guy that had that place over just across from Costco where you talked to him for like an hour from Florida?
Oh.
I'm like, you didn't.
That guy could talk.
I said, follow up with so and so, but block us out.
But that's something. Communication is something that I think as a business owner. I think I always want my employees to be really good communicators. Yeah. And sometimes they're really good at technology, but sometimes it's easier for them to text.
Or if you're having a conversation, what's the biggest thing that ticks you off if you're having a conversation?
They have their phone in front of them, or
sitting there, click,
or they're working like this with their phone in front of them.
And a lot of times, like sellers,
and it's not good or bad; it's just different.
But if I was a seller like meeting.
You want eye contact.
Absolutely.
The older generation does.
Yeah, absolutely. Where it's just like, because the older generation would take offense at that. You're not giving me. You're spending.
Yeah.
Even though there could be listening or
but guess what?
multitasking.
We're the same generation now. We may be the older generation, but we go out to dinner and we're the same ones that you see the light glowing up.
Yeah, exactly.
At dinner from the table. We're all even though we're on dinner with our wife. Yeah, I mean, my wife's checking her stuff. I'm checking my. We're really.
Minnie was talking around an old iPhone last night.
Or the kids are on iPads at the restaurants. And stuff.
I still can't believe that. That's like a monster thing just to take in a restaurant.
Yeah. So if you're hiring people and you're looking, say there's a bigger pool of millennials and stuff, how do you attract the talent? What do you do that attracts the talent and the good talent, like the qualified people that can help get deals done and stuff like that? Have that drive.
The tough part, because I'm still trying to learn.
Yeah.
Because I've only got one guy, but he's been a friend, like a lifelong friend, so I know.
And you have a lot of relationship-based contacts where you have really good relationships with a lot of family, cousins, friends, whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think it's nice where sometimes you could have the smartest person, I mean, somebody with talent, but but for you, I think as important as it would be is somebody that I know I'm going to work with well, and that could I trust this person? Yeah. You're turning them loose, hoping, they're doing this and that and the other. Right. And, if you have a connection and a good relationship with them, they're probably not going to, less likely to,
Right. But the big thing is, I'm trying to find what's their motivation. Just like when you're asking a seller, like, what'll motivate you to get this list of 50 or 100 per day? Yeah. For some, it's money. Like the guy that tells me it's more money, which I have no problem with that whatsoever. But like I said, I'm still learning, so that's.
And it's tough because a lot of the things that we try to do is more contingency based. We say, hey, tell you what, if you do this or whatever, you get because a lot of times people just want to work an hour, get paid an hour, and in this business, it's not like that. Right. You might work, when you work an hour, get paid an hour, it's great, but it's only for an hour and it's this much money. Mm-hmm. We're trying to find the people that want to work 10 hours, 20 hours, a long time on the project. It's going to be a ton more money, but it's all contingency based where if that thing goes sideways, they're not getting paid anything. Right. So
they can get a bigger paycheck.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they're willing to put in a little bit more.
Absolutely. Effort. So.
Well, that's good insight.
Cool.
What drives you?
Right now, I was talking with a buddy about this, Mark, trying to have a balance between life, enjoying life, and working really hard. Yeah. Because like if I worked 40 or 50 hours, like when I was in the first 6 months, it's like that. It was so many hours on the phone that I got to a point where I hated being on the phone because like it just gets tiring on you. So now I'm trying to figure out a balance between both. I want to enjoy life, but I also want to make good money. So if I'd say if there's somewhere in between those two, I'm still trying to find, I guess, what
it's a movie,
my own drive is as well.
You'll find in what they say. I mean, in the beginning when you're young, you have the time, but you have the time, the health, but not the money. And then when you're middle age, you have your health and the money, but not the time. And then when you're in your older age, you have the money, but not. Was it the money?
Money and time, but not the health.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because there was a story that I had heard that I told to Mark. I said there's two friends. One of them, all he did was work, trying to achieve his goal and never really had fun or did anything. The other one did nothing but goof around, have fun, party, and they both end up on a train. I think this is made up songs. They both end up on a train, and they both die in the accident in the train. And then the question is, well, who had the better life? Yeah. I'm like, that's still something I don't even know how to.
But you can, and it's tough. Well, then you pray that if they had families, the one guy had a will and the other guy left a bill. So I don't know, man. Who knows? Yeah. All right. On that note,
that was a good one. That was good.
That was nice Davism right there.
Yeah.
So anyone that would like to find out a little bit more on Driving for Dollars or would like to get a free, basically standard operating procedure on how I help my students and my employees do Driving for Dollars, just in the comments below, type in Driving for Dollars, and I will shoot you a message with a link to the Google Doc. So thanks for watching this and appreciate it, and have a good one. Bye.
Peace out. Yeah, dude. Oh man, he's got like